Hi guys, let us move to the next topic, that is nothing but adjoint and inverse of a matrix. So the inverse of a matrix, which you have already studied in the previous chapter, that is in the topic matrix, where you used to find the inverse of a matrix either by row operation or by column operation. Here we are going to find the inverse of a here we are studying how to find the inverse of a matrix with the help of adjoint of a matrix. Let us come to know what is this adjoint first, and also whether the inverse exists or not. Whether the inverse exists or not, we are going to study here. Suppose if it exists means only we are proceeding to find the inverse. Suppose if it is not existing means we are going to stop there itself. So here we are finding the inverse of a matrix with the help of adjoint of a matrix. So before going to inverse of a matrix, let us understand what is adjoint of a matrix. So I considered here a matrix A of order 3. Okay, the elements of that matrix are in this manner. Okay, now we know that what is the cofactor, right? You already came to know how to find the cofactor of each and every element. For example, if I need to find the cofactor of the first element, that is A11, means the cofactor of A11 is equal to capital A11, which is obtained by -1 to the power 1 plus 1, deleting the row and column containing the A11. What are the elements? A22, A23, A32 and A33. So by this way we are finding the cofactor for the first element, that is A11. Similarly, we can find the cofactor of each and every element of this matrix. So I will write the matrix of cofactor of A, that is matrix of cofactor. Matrix of cofactor, that is what? Matrix of cofactor. What is the cofactor of first element A11? It is capital A11. Capital A12 is the cofactor of the second element. This is the cofactor of the third element. Similarly, I can write for the cofactor of each and every element. So this is the matrix of cofactors. Then adjoint of A. Adjoint of A is nothing but transpose of the matrix of cofactor. It is nothing but adjoint of A is the transpose of the matrix of cofactors. That is nothing but, I am taking the transpose of this matrix, that is nothing but our first row A11, A12, A13, it becomes our first column, and this second row becomes our second column, and the third row becomes our third column. So the transpose of this is nothing but adjoint of A. So adjoint of A is nothing but transpose of the cofactor matrix. So here all these capital A11, A12 all are the cofactors of each and every element, and you already know how to find the cofactor for each and every element. After finding the cofactor of each and every element, if you write the transpose of that cofactor matrix, that is nothing but the adjoint of A. For example, let us find the cofactor for a matrix of order 2. Of order 2. So first thing is, what is the transpose of A11? Deleting this row, this column, 4. That is nothing but -1 to the power 1 plus 1 into 4. So that is nothing but 4 itself. What about A12? This is this element. Deleting this row and this column, -3. What about A21? A21, this is this element, -1. Deleting the row and column into 3. Sorry, this is deleting this row, this column, it is -1. Here this is -3. And what about cofactor of the second row, second element, this one, that is nothing but deleting this row and this column, it is 2. So now you got A11, A12, A21, A22. What we needed? We needed adjoint of matrix A. It is nothing but A11 we already know how we will write A11, A12, A13, A21, A22, but we need to take the transpose. So A11, here it becomes A11, that is 4. Here A12, what is A12? Minus 1. Then here A21, that is minus 3. And what about here? A22, it is 2. So this is the adjoint of A. So here there is one of the beautiful trick when it comes to the finding the adjoint of order 2. It is the trick only for the matrix of order 2. That is nothing but, suppose if I consider a matrix A with the elements A11, A12, A21, A22, then I'll partition the elements in two diagonal like this manner. Okay, like this manner. So this A11, A22 diagonal elements, these elements we are going to interchange. This one we are going to interchange. This diagonal elements here we are going to change the sign. Here we are going to change the sign. So that is nothing but adjoint of A. For this element, if I write adjoint of A, it is nothing but, what about these elements? Interchanging. So A22, A11. What about this one? Elements written as it is, we are just changing the sign. That is minus A12, minus A21. Now you can check here also. Here our matrix A was 2, 3, 1, 4. According to this one, if I go, means this column I need to what? Interchange. You can see it is interchanged, 4, 2. What about this column? I mean this diagonal, I need to change the sign. You can see here minus 3, minus 4. So this is how we are going to find the adjoint of A for a matrix of order 2 in the easiest way is in this manner. But this is not going to hold when it comes for order 3. Order 3, it is not going to hold this one. For order 3, you have to follow the same method. There is no shortcut for the finding the adjoint of a matrix A with in this manner. So you should follow, first you need to find the cofactor for each and every element. After finding the cofactor, you need to take the transpose of the matrix of the cofactor. That is nothing but the adjoint of that matrix A. So this is regarding the adjoint of a matrix. So with the concept of adjoint of a matrix, let us move with some of the theorems before going to proceed to finding the inverse of a matrix with the help of adjoint. So the first theorem what is saying is, if we consider a square matrix of order n, here A is nothing but a square matrix of order n, then they are saying A into adjoint A or adjoint A into A is equal to determinant of A into I, where I is nothing but the identity matrix. It is nothing but the identity matrix of order n itself. Okay, so this is our, if I go to verify this theorem, means this is our matrix A. Then how will be our adjoint? As I said, finding the cofactor of this one and taking the transpose of that cofactor. That is nothing but A11, A12, A13, and next A21, A22, A23, and here A31, A32 and A33. So this is the adjoint of the matrix A with the elements A11 in this manner. Okay, now they are saying A into adjoint A. So we need to multiply the matrix A with the adjoint A. So that is nothing but I am multiplying the matrix A with the adjoint A. So now observe carefully here. I am not going to write each and every element for the matrix multiplication. So matrix multiplication, how it goes? We are going to multiply first row with the first column plus second row, first row with the second column, first row with the third column. Here it finishes first row elements of the product of a matrix. So in this manner we are going to proceed. So first thing you observe here, this is the first row elements and these are the cofactors of the first row elements. As I said earlier, if we sum up the product of the first row element with the cofactors of the first row element, then their sum is nothing but the determinant A. That is nothing but if the product of the first row element, that is product of the first row element with the cofactor of that element itself, that is this is the first element multiplied with the cofactor of that element, and second row element multiplied with the cofactor of that not second row, first row's element only, a11, a12 and a13 into a13. So if we add all these three, then the value of this one is nothing but the determinant A, which I have already mentioned in the previous video. So you can see here in the first in the product taking the product of A into adjoint A, first is nothing but I am multiplying the first row element with the cofactor of the first row element and taking the sum of it. So a11 into a11 plus a12 into a12 plus a13 into a13. So that is nothing but the determinant A. So next one, I am multiplying the first row element with the cofactors of the second row elements. As I said earlier, if I multiply the first row element with the cofactors of the other row or other column elements means then the value is equal to 0. So as I said, here I am multiplying first row element with the cofactors of the second row element, so value is 0. Again, first row element with the cofactors of the third row elements, value is 0. Now second row elements is multiplied with the first row elements cofactor, so value is 0. But here second row element is multiplied with the cofactors of the second row elements itself, so value is equal to the determinant A. Similarly, second row elements is multiplied with the cofactors of the third row element, so value is equal to 0. Here third row elements is multiplied with the cofactors of the first row element, value is 0. Third row element is multiplied with the cofactors of the second row element, value is 0. Third row element is multiplied with the cofactors of the third row element, so the value is determinant A. So now you got this matrix. See here, it is not a determinant here, it is a matrix. So I need to take a common outside, means the thing should be taken from each and every element here. So what will be the common element which I need to take common outside? Here it is determinant A, which is taken from each and every element. Since here and all 0, it doesn't matter, but from here if I take determinant common outside means 1 0 0 0 1 0 0 0 1. So what is this? This is nothing but the identity matrix. So determinant A into I. So therefore A into adjoint A is equal to determinant A into I. You can either verify for adjoint A into A also, you will get the same value. This is how we have verified the theorem 1. Okay. If you didn't get this one, please try to expand it and try to understand what I have said in this concept. Okay. Let us go. Before going to next theorem, let us understand what is the singular and non-singular matrix, which plays a very important role in the next section, that is consistent and inconsistent system of a matrix. So you should clearly understand what is the singular matrix and what are these non-singular matrix. So first let us understand what is this singular matrix. So if I consider a singular matrix, when we are going to say a matrix is a singular means, first, if A is a square matrix, it must be a square matrix. As I said, square matrix, it is the king of a matrix. So matrix A, it should be a square matrix. Then that matrix is said to be singular if determinant is equal to 0. So the determinant value of that matrix is equal to 0 means then we are saying such a matrix is called as a singular matrix. For example, if I consider a matrix A which is equal to 1 2 4 8 1 2 4 8. So if I need to take the determinant value means what? 1, 2, 4, 8. What is the determinant of this one? 8 minus 8, which is equal to 0. Then the determinant of A is equal to 0. So determinant of A is equal to 0 means what? The matrix, this A is a singular matrix. Okay, what is this non-singular matrix? A matrix A is said to be a non-singular matrix if A is a square matrix. First, it should be a square matrix. If it is a square matrix, then it is said to be a non-singular if the determinant value of A is not equal to 0. For example, if I consider a matrix A which is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. If I need the determinant value of this matrix means 1, 2, 3, 4. What will be the value? It is nothing but 4 minus 6, which is equal to minus 2, which is not equal to 0. Therefore, our matrix A is a non-singular matrix. So this is what a singular matrix and non-singular matrix is saying. So we understand singular matrix means determinant value of A is equal to 0. If it is said to be a non-singular means a determinant value of A, it should be not equal to 0. Next, the theorem 2 and theorem 3. Here we are stating the theorem 2 and theorem 3 without the proof. We are just understanding the concept what this theorem 2 and theorem 3 are stating. So theorem 2, it is saying if A and B are non-singular matrices of same order, means the determinant value of A is also not equal to 0 and determinant value of B is also not equal to 0. That is what non-singularity of matrix is saying. So A and B are non-singular matrices of same order. If A is of order 3 means B is also of order 3. Then AB and BA both are also non-singular matrix. That is, if A and B are of order 3, if you multiply that two matrix, you are going to get, if you multiply A and B, AB matrix, B and A means BA matrix. Whatever the matrix you got after multiplying, then that two matrix is also non-singular matrix. That is, determinant value of AB is not equal to 0 and determinant value of BA is also not equal to 0, and the order of these two matrices are all obviously same, which you have already came to know in the matrix chapter. So this is what theorem 2 is stating. What about the theorem 3? The determinant of the product of the matrix is equal to the product of their respective determinants. So that is what they are saying. If I take the determinant value of the product, that is, if A is one matrix and B is one matrix, if you multiply that two matrix, you are going to get matrix AB. Then the determinant value of that product AB is equal to the determinant value of A into determinant value of B. This is what they are saying, but both A and B are of square matrix of same order. This is the condition which you need to maintain when you are stating this part. That is, determinant of AB is equal to determinant of A into determinant of B. So this is what theorem 2 and theorem 3 are stating. So let us move to the next one of the important remark which we need to know. So we know that adjoint A, theorem 1, this is what theorem 1 is stating, right? Theorem 1, that is nothing but adjoint A is equal to determinant A into I, that is nothing but this one. So if I take the determinants on both the side, then it becomes determinants adjoint A into A and determinant of this one, that is determinant A 0 0, determinant A 0 0 0, determinant A. Okay, so as I said, according to the theorem 3, what does that the theorem 3 was stating? If AB, if the product of two matrices, determinant value of product of two matrix, it can be represented as determinant of matrix A into determinant of matrix B. So LHS of this one, it can be written as determinant of adjoint of A into determinant of A. Now you can see here, I can take determinant A common from the first row. Here it was a matrix. When I am taking determinant A common outside, it should be taken from each and every elements. So it was only one determinant A, and the what was the left out was identity matrix. But here I am talking was, that is determinant. So be careful while taking common thing. So here I need to consider, we need to take determinant A common from the first row, second row, third row. So what it happens, determinant A whole cube. What is the remaining element? 1 0 0 0 1 0 0 0 1. Then the determinant value of this one is nothing but 1. So what happens? This one, adjoint A, determinant value of adjoint A into determinant A whole cube into 1. This determinant A get cancels with one of the determinant A from this cube. So that is nothing but adjoint of A is equal to determinant A square. So in general, if I need to say, in general means if matrix is of order n means, then determinant of adjoint of A, yeah, matrix A is of order n means, then the determinant of adjoint of A is equal to determinant of A to the power n minus 1. That is what here it was of order 3. So matrix determinant of matrix A to the power 3 minus 1, it is 2. So if it is of order n means, then determinant of adjoint of A is equal to determinant of A to the power n minus 1. So in the beginning what I said was, here we are going to find the inverse of a matrix with the help of adjoint of a matrix, and also we are going to learn the condition for when the inverse is going to be existed. So that condition we are going to study in the next theorem. That is what the theorem 4 is stating here is, if A is a invertible square matrix, if and only if A is a non-singular matrix. If A is a invertible singular matrix, if and only if A is a non-singular matrix. So here it is if and only if condition. So there one condition is a direct condition and the next is a converse condition. We need to prove this theorem, we need to prove direct as well as a converse part, which you have already came to know about if and only if condition in the previous class. So what is the direct condition? Here we are assuming that A is a invertible square matrix, and we need to prove that if A is a invertible square matrix, then we need to prove A is a non-singular. What is the converse? There we are assuming A is a non-singular matrix and we need to prove that A is a invertible square matrix. So first thing, let us prove direct part. Here what we are assuming that let A be the invertible square matrix. A is a invertible square matrix. If a matrix A is a invertible square matrix means, then what we know by the definition of invertible matrix or inverse of a matrix, then there exists a matrix, B of or if A is a invertible square matrix of order n, if I consider it is of order n means, then there exists a matrix B of order n such that AB which is equal to BA which is equal to I. This is what we learned in the invertible matrix, right? Then there exists a matrix B such that AB is equal to BA is equal to I. I'll call this one as equation 1. Okay, so I'll consider now AB is equal to I, and I take the determinant on both the side. According to the theorem 3, we know that determinant AB, it can be written as A into determinant A into determinant B, and determinant value of the identity matrix, it is equal to 1. So you can clearly see that determinant A is not equal to 0, because determinant A into determinant B is equal to 1 implies the value of B, or that the value of A is not equal to 0. So what is we need to prove here? We have considered A has a invertible square matrix and we need to show that A is a non-singular. A is a non-singular means what it is going to say? Determinant value of A is not equal to 0. So here you can clearly see that determinant A into determinant B is equal to 1 means determinant value of A is not equal to 0. Here it is a common sense. From this step to this step, it is a common sense. Product, if I say for example x into y is equal to 1 means it is clear that value of x is not equal to 0. Right, that is what I am saying here. Determinant value of A is not equal to 0. So determinant value of A is not equal to 0 means what? A is a non-singular matrix. It is a non-singular matrix. So this is the direct part. Now converse part. In the converse part, what? First we are assuming A is a non-singular matrix. A is a non-singular matrix means what? Determinant of A is not equal to 0. So we already have what we are having with the previous remark or from the theorem 1. Previously or not, from the theorem 1 we are having A into adjoint A, which is equal to adjoint A into A is equal to determinant value of A into I. This is what we are having from the theorem 1. So if I multiply this whole equation or with the 1 by determinant value of A, that is nothing but A into 1 by determinant value of A into adjoint A, which is equal to again 1 by determinant value of A into adjoint A into A. Here if I multiply by 1 by determinant value of A means determinant value of A get cancels, remaining is I. So clearly this equation whole, it is looking in the form of A into B is equal to B into A, which is equal to I, where our matrix B, here you can see I am going directly here, where matrix B is nothing but 1 by determinant value of A into adjoint A. So I can say that this is a matrix B. If I call this one as B means A into B, which is equal to B into A, which is equal to I, means then what it is going to say, A is a invertible matrix, which is going to say that A is a invertible matrix where B is the inverse of A, where B is the inverse of A. So B is the inverse of A means what happens, that is A inverse is equal to 1 by determinant value of A into adjoint A. So remember this equation, that is inverse of a matrix is nothing but 1 by determinant value of A into adjoint A. Suppose if they ask you to find the inverse of A means first you need to find the determinant value of that matrix, then you need to find the adjoint of that matrix, then combining these two, that is 1 by determinant value of A into adjoint A, will give you the inverse of a matrix. Suppose in the examination if they ask you to find the inverse of a matrix whereby with the help of adjoint by finding the adjoint of A means you need to proceed in this manner, or else if they mention find the inverse of a matrix with the elementary row or column operation means you need to proceed with the previous method which you learnt in the matrix section. If they didn't mention anything means you can go with either the finding the adjoint and finding the inverse, or with the elementary row or column operation. It is left to you. So now you know clearly what is adjoint and inverse with the both the concept. Now let us move with the solving the problems regarding adjoint and inverse of a matrix. So here they have given a matrix A and asked you to first thing to verify A into adjoint A is equal to determinant A into I, and the second they have asked you to find A inverse. So if you know the adjoint of A, what is the formula to find the A inverse? That is 1 by determinant value of A into adjoint A, right? So before even to verify this one or to find the A inverse, you must know the value of what is the determinant value of A. So first let us find what is the determinant value of A. I am expanding it through the row 1, that is 1, 1, deleting the row and column. 4 4s are 16 minus 9 minus 3, deleting row and column. 4 minus 3 plus 3, deleting the row and column. 3 minus 4. So what it is going to happen, 16 minus 9 it is 7, 4 minus 3 it is 1, 1 into minus 3 is minus 3, 3 into minus 4 it is minus 1, minus 1 into 3 is minus 3. So it is nothing but 7 minus 6, which is equal to 1. Therefore it is not equal to 0. So A is a non-singular matrix. Suppose if determinant A is equal to 0 means, you can see in the denominator if we got 0, then we can easily say that 1 by 0, which is infinity, does not exist at all. So if the value of determinant A is equal to 0 comes means, then you can say that clearly inverse does not exist. Inverse does not exist. So here clearly it is equal to 1, which is not equal to 0. Therefore inverse of a matrix A exists. So inverse of the matrix A is going to be exist. So you know the value of determinant value of A, which is equal to 1. Let it be here in this box. Now you need to find the adjoint of A. So to find the adjoint of A, you must know the cofactors of each and every element. Now let us find the cofactor of first element, that is A11. So A11 is equal to minus 1 to the power 1 plus 1. The subscript of that first position of the element, that is 1 plus 1. Deleting the row and column containing the first element, what are remaining? 4, 3, 3, 4. Now you need to find the value of this determinant. Minus 1 to the power 1 plus 1, it is 1. So it is nothing but 16 minus 9, which is equal to 7. So 7 is the A11. Now next here we are having minus 1. Determinant value A12 means this position, cofactor of element this one. Deleting the row and column containing the 3, remaining is 1, 3, 1, 4. You can see here the value of this one is 4 minus 3, which is equal to minus 1, because minus is there here. Minus 1 to the power 1 plus 2, which is the odd number. Again here minus 1 to the power 1 plus 3, third position's cofactor, value is 1. Deleting the row and column containing that third element, the remaining element is 1, 4, 1, 3. The value is 3 minus 4, which is equal to minus 1. Again here A21, this element's cofactor, minus 1 to the power 2 plus 1. The position of that element, that is 2, 1, 2 plus 1. So 2 plus 1, it is again minus 1. And deleting the row and column containing this element, remaining element is 3, 3, 3, 4. So the determinant value of this one is 12 minus 9, which is equal to minus 3. So the next element A22 positions cofactor, that is minus 1 to the power 2 plus 2, it is 1. Deleting the row and column containing that one, the remaining element is 1, 3, 1, 4. So the determinant value is 4 minus 3, which is equal to 1. The next is third element 3. The minus 1 to the power 2 plus 3, that is minus 1. Remaining element, deleting that row and column, the remaining is 1, 3, 1, 3, though that is 3 minus 3, which is equal to 0. The next is A31, this one element. So deleting the minus 1 to the power 3 plus 1, it is 1. Deleting the row and column containing that element, remaining element is 3, 3, 4, 3. So that is nothing but 9 minus 12, which is equal to minus 3, 3 is 9, 4, 3 is, that is minus 3. And next is A32, the cofactor of this element, minus 1 to the power 3 plus 2, which is equal to minus 1. Deleting the element of the row and column of that element, remaining is 1, 3, 1, 3. So that is nothing but 3 minus 3, which is equal to 0. And the last element is this one. Deleting the row and column containing that element, the elements are 1, 3, 1, 4. So here it is nothing but 1, 4 minus 3, which is equal to 1. Now you got the elements A11, A12, A13, A21, A22, A23, A31, A32, A33. If possible, try to write the cofactors in this manner itself, or try to write A11, A12, A13, A21, A22, A23, A31, A32, A33, because you will not going to get confused while writing the adjoint of a matrix. So if you look here means you are going to get a clear cut idea of the cofactors by looking here itself. You can see directly there are 3 elements in the first row, 3 elements in the second row, 3 elements in the third row. So if possible, for your confusion, if you get confusion means it is better way to write in this manner. So as I said, what is the adjoint of a matrix? we are taking the transpose of a cofactor of a matrix. That is, here I have written A11, A12, A13. This is going to become our column. That is A11, A12, A13. So here, what is A11? 7. A12 it was -1. A13 it was again -1. So what it becomes? 7 -1 -1, which you have written in the first row. It becomes 7 -1 -1, become our first column. Then A21, A22, A23, which is a cofactor of the second row, become the second column when we are writing the adjoint. So it becomes -3, 1, 0. Then again, cofactor of the third row, that is A31, A32, A33, it has become our third column, that is -3, 0, 1. This is how we are going to write the adjoint of a matrix. So if you write like this also okay. If you get confused writing this one row is going to be changed into column, if you get confused in that manner also, means it's better if you write A11 here, A12 here, A13 here. I mean, what and all you have written in the row wise, you can try to write in the column wise. Later you can write as it is in the adjoint of a matrix. So there will be no confusion if you felt this one has confused means, or else you can go with this method. Okay, now you got the adjoint. What they have asked you to verify, A into adjoint A. So A is this matrix, adjoint A is this matrix. So A into adjoint A is nothing but this one. So now I need to multiply this one to verify that A into adjoint A is equal to determinant value of A into I. So how we are multiplying? We are multiplying with first row with the first column, first row with the second column, first row with the third column, in this manner. So after while multiplying, we are going to get 7 into 1, 7, -3, -3. Then next -3 plus 3, 0. -3, 0 plus 3. Again plus 7, -4, -3. -3 plus 4, 0. Again -3, 0, 3. Here 7, -3, -4. -3 plus 3, 0. -3, 0 plus 4. So now you got this one. After solving this equation, that is 7 plus 3 minus 3. It's 7. 7 minus 3 minus 3, not plus 3. 7 minus 3 minus 3, it becomes 1. Here this one get cancels. 0 cancels. 0. Again here 7 minus 4, it is also 0. Here it is 1, 0, 0, 0, 1. So which is nothing but your identity matrix. So I can write this one as 1 into 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1. Whether there is any change in this matrix and this matrix, value remains as it is by multiplying 1. But we know that determinant value of A is equal to 1, which I have already written in this box. So I can write this 1 as equal to determinant A, and this one is nothing but I. So you can clearly see that A into adjoint A is equal to determinant A into I. So therefore we have verified the first thing, that is A into adjoint A is equal to determinant A into I. So the next thing what you need to find here was A inverse. The formula to find A inverse was 1 by determinant A into adjoint A. We know the determinant value of A, which is nothing but which is equal to 1, and adjoint A we have already find. So substitute that one, that is nothing but 1 by 1 determinant value of A, adjoint A is this matrix. So 1 by 1 it is 1 itself. If I multiply 1 to this matrix, this matrix retains as it is. So this is nothing but the inverse of a given matrix. So this is how we are going to find the inverse of a matrix with the help of adjoint of a matrix. Here we are not doing any elementary row or elementary column operation to get the inverse of a matrix. This is the second method to find the inverse of a matrix. And the first method which we have already learned was elementary row or column operation. This is the second method to find the inverse of a matrix. So this is the next question. They have given a matrix A and matrix B and asked us to verify the AB whole inverse is equal to B inverse into A inverse. So we need to verify now this one. So first thing, to verify this one, what and all things we needed? First we need to find what is the product AB. After that we need to find the inverse of this one. Later we need to find the inverse of matrix B as well as inverse of matrix A. So we are having this much of procedures. So first thing is finding the product AB. So here they have given matrix A and matrix B. If I do the matrix multiplication, I get matrix A and B has 1, 5, 5 and minus 14. So this is the product of A and B. You can verify by doing yourself the multiplying matrix A and B. You will get this matrix AB. Now I need to find the inverse of this matrix, that is AB. This is AB, right? So before finding the inverse, whether I need to check, first I need to check whether inverse exists or not. So to check whether it is exists or not, what is the method we are going to use here? That is nothing but we need to find the determinant value of the matrix AB. So if the determinant value of AB is not equal to 0, if matrix AB, determinant value of matrix AB is not equal to 0, or AB is a non-singular matrix, means then inverse exists. Suppose if it is equal to 0 means then the inverse of AB matrix, inverse of a matrix AB does not exist. So let us find the inverse of matrix AB. So that is nothing but this one, the determinant value. So that is nothing but 14 minus 25, which is equal to minus 11, which is not equal to 0. So it is not equal to 0, therefore inverse of AB, that one is going to be exist. So how we are going to find the inverse? We have the formula AB whole inverse is equal to 1 by determinant value of AB into adjoint of the matrix AB. So what is the determinant value of the matrix AB? It is minus 1 by 11. Minus 11, if I write here also, here also 1 and the same. Now we need to find the adjoint of this matrix. So I have already said one of the easiest method or a trick to find the adjoint of a matrix of order 2. So what is that one? About this diagonal I need to do what? I need to interchange. So here this one I need to interchange. So what it happens? Minus 14 minus 1. What about this diagonal? I need to do what? I need to change the sign. That is nothing but minus 5 minus 5. So what happens here? From this whole matrix I can take what? Minus common outside. Minus 1 common outside. If I take minus 1 common outside, what it happens? Minus into minus plus. So 1 by 11, 14, 5, 5, 1. So this is our AB whole inverse. Let us call this equation as 1. Now I need to verify for the right hand side, that is B inverse into A inverse. So finding the product of B inverse into A inverse, first we have to find what is B inverse and then what about A inverse. So before finding the inverse of B and A, I need to check whether the inverse exists. How we are checking whether the inverse exists or not? By taking the determinant value of A and B. So you can see here matrix A, what is the determinant value of A? It is nothing but 4 2s are minus 8 minus 3, which is nothing but minus 11, which is not equal to 0. So inverse A inverse exists. Determinant value of B, it is nothing but 3 minus 2, because minus 2 into minus 1 plus 2, again here we are obvious minus. So 3 minus 2, which is 1, not equal to 0. So both A inverse and B inverse, they are going to exist. So if they are existing means now what? We need to find it. So how we are finding? A inverse is equal to 1 by determinant value of A into adjoint A. So 1 by determinant value of A is what? Minus 11. Now we need to find the adjoint A. Here is the matrix. So what about this diagonal? This diagonal I need to interchange. What happens? Minus 4, 2. I have interchange. What about this one? I need to change the sign, that is minus 3 minus 1. So this is the A inverse. Next is B inverse. Similarly, 1 by determinant of B into adjoint of B. So what is the determinant value of B? It is 1. Adjoint of B, here is the matrix B. Along this diagonal I need to interchange, that is 3 1. Along this diagonal I need to change the sign, so it becomes 2 1. So now we got the A inverse and B inverse. So now what we have to do, we need to find product of B inverse and A inverse. What is that B inverse? 1 by 1, 3 2 1 1. What about A inverse? 1 by minus 1 by 11 into minus 4 minus 3 minus 1 2. So it is a product. I can take this one to the common thing, which I can write this scalar to the beginning. So it becomes 3 2 1 1 and minus 4 minus 3 minus 1 2. So after multiplying this one, we are going to get minus 1 by 11, which is equal to minus 14 minus 5 minus 5 minus 1. If I take minus common outside, 1 by 11, 14 5 5 1. I'll call this one as equation 2. Now you can compare equation 1 as well as equation 2. It is clear that both are equal. Therefore, AB whole inverse is equal to B inverse into A inverse. This is how we have verified that AB whole inverse is equal to B inverse A inverse for a matrix of order 2. So let us move to the next problem. So they have given a matrix A and we need to show that this matrix A is going to satisfy this equation, that is A square minus 4A plus I is equal to O, where I is the identity matrix of order 2 and O is the identity matrix of order, O is the zero matrix of order 2. So after verifying this one, we need to verify another thing, or we need to find A inverse by using this equation, not by the help of finding the adjoint or like that. We need to find A inverse with the help of this equation. Now let us find how we are going to find A inverse by like this type of equation. So first thing, you need to verify this equation. This is as usual which you have done in the matrix. First, finding the A square. A square, it can be written as A into A. So A into A, after multiplying I am going to get the matrix, this one 7 12 4 7. So after that I am going to take the LHS, that is A square minus 4A plus I. So that is nothing but this is A square matrix minus 4 into matrix A plus I, which is the identity matrix of order 2. So now after that I will take 7 12 4 7 as it is. Multiplying minus 4 inside, it becomes minus 8 minus 12 minus 4 minus 8 plus 1 0 0 1. Now I will add all that, that is 7 minus 8 plus 1, 12 minus 12 plus 0, 4 minus 4 plus 0, and this one is 7 minus 8 plus 1. So which is nothing but 7 plus 1 8, 8 minus 8 0, 12 12 get cancelled 0, 4 4 get cancelled 0, 7 plus 1 8, 8 minus 8 0, which is 0 0 0 0 is nothing but O, which is our zero matrix of order 2. Thus we have verified this equation. So after verifying, they ask you to find the A inverse with the help of this equation. So I write that equation: A square minus 4A plus I is equal to zero matrix, which is O. So I can write this A square as A into A, right? So I'll write that one as A into A minus 4A. I'll take this identity matrix to the RHS. So it becomes minus I. 0 is nothing but zero matrix. So it is, if I multiply for this one, if I am going to subtract from identity matrix 1 0 0 1, means we are going to get minus 1 minus of 1 0 0 1. So that is what? Minus I. Okay. So I have got this matrix. Now for this I am going to post multiply. As I mentioned, the meaning of what is post multiplying and pre multiplying. So pre-multiply means multiplying before the equation, post multiply means multiplying it after the equation. So I am post multiplying A inverse. So before post multiplying, I should make sure that A inverse is going to be exist. So how we are going to say that A inverse is going to be existed? We are going to check the determinant value of A. So what is the determinant value of A? So you can see here 2, 3, 1, 2. So 4 minus 3 which is equal to 1, not equal to 0. So determinant value of A is a matrix A is a non-singular matrix. So A inverse exists. So inverse is existing, so I can post multiply A inverse on both the side for this equation. So that becomes A into A minus 4A post multiplying. So A inverse here minus I into A inverse. Now this A inverse is multiplied to both the equations. So that becomes A into A inverse minus 4 A into A inverse is equal to, if I am multiplying any matrix with the identity matrix, we are going to get that matrix itself. So that is minus A inverse. So I will group this 2 and this 2. So A into A inverse is nothing but identity matrix minus 4I, which is equal to minus A inverse. So A into I is nothing but A itself minus 4I, which is equal to minus A inverse. So if I take minus common outside, what it happens? A inverse is equal to 4I minus A. So I will write 4I. 4I is nothing but 1, 0, 0, 1. A is nothing but our what? 2, 3, 1, 2. So 2, 3, 1, 2. So it is nothing but 4, 0, 0, 4 minus 2, 3, 1, 2. Which is nothing but 4 minus 2, 0 minus 3, 0 minus 1, 4 minus 2. So which is nothing but 4 minus 2, it is 2, minus 3, minus 1, 2. So this is nothing but A inverse. You can verify this one whether it is a inverse correct or not, because here it is a matrix of order 2, and as I said, we can easily find the adjoint of this matrix. That is nothing but adjoint of A. How we can going to find the adjoint of this matrix? Interchanging this one, that is nothing but 2 and 2, and changing this sign minus 3 minus 1. What is the determinant value of A? Which was 1. So 1 by 1. So 1 by determinant value of A into adjoint is nothing but A inverse. So you can see here, with the help of formula and by verifying this with this formula, we got A inverse has the same value. So this is the correct answer, that is the inverse is true. That means what the inverse which I got right now, it is correct. So this is how we are finding the A inverse with the help of the given equation along with the question. So this is one method to find the A inverse, and another method is going with the formula, that is A inverse 1 by determinant value of A into adjoint A. So remember this equation properly, and how to find the adjoint of the given matrix. Okay, this is regarding adjoint of a matrix and finding the inverse of a matrix with the help of adjoint of A. So you can go with the exercise problems. In that you can see how to find the adjoint of a matrix, how to find the inverse of a matrix, and checking the this itself, the first question which I have did, A into adjoint A is equal to determinant A into I. Regarding this one there is some questions, and again verifying AB whole inverse is equal to B inverse into A inverse regarding this one, and few questions regarding you need to verify this equation, and with the help of this equation you are going to find the A inverse. So these are the some of the questions you can see in the exercise problems. So if you have any doubts with any of the exercise problems, you can ask me at any time. Thank you.